Imagine a world where your words don't just disappear into the air. Imagine they are collected. Every I love you that you meant to say, every I am sorry that got stuck in your throat, they are all kept in a museum that only opens when it is too late. Tonight, let's walk through the halls of the things we should have said. Story 16: The Museum of Last Words. Gideon was a man who lived his life in a hurry. He was a businessman in a large city, always looking at his watch, always answering emails, and always thinking about the next deal. He had a wife and a son, but to him, they were just background noise in his busy life. He thought he had all the time in the world to be a father and a husband. Later, he would say, I will play with you later. I will take you to dinner later. One night, while driving home in a storm, Gideon's car slid on the wet road. There was a bright flash, a loud crash, and then silence. Gideon opened his eyes and found himself standing in a building made of infinite glass. It was the Museum of Last Words. The curator was a tall man named Theron, who wore a suit made of gray mist. Welcome, Gideon, Theron said. This is where we keep the things you saved for later. He led Gideon to a display case. Inside was a small glowing jar. When Gideon touched it, he heard his own voice. It was from 5 years ago. I'm proud of you, son. I never said that, Gideon whispered. Exactly, Theron replied. This is a saved word. You felt it in your heart, but you let it stay there. Now it belongs to us. They walked further. Gideon saw thousands of jars. He saw a massive jar labeled, The Apology to My Wife. He saw a tiny, sparkling one labeled, Thank you to my father. Each jar was a moment of connection that Gideon had traded for 5 more minutes of work or a few more dollars. Can I take them back? Gideon asked, his heart aching with a pain he had never felt before. Can I go back and say them now? Theron shook his head. The museum only collects. It never returns. These words were meant to be seeds planted in the hearts of the people you love because you kept them here. Their hearts grew a little colder and their lives grew a little lonelier. You were rich in the world of men, Gideon, but here you are a beggar. Gideon looked at a jar that was glowing brighter than the rest. He opened it. It was his son's voice, crying out for him to stay, and read a bedtime story. Gideon remembered that night. He had shouted at the boy to go to sleep because he had a meeting the next day. In that hall of glass, Gideon finally understood. Success isn't measured by what you build. It is measured by what you leave behind in the hearts of others. He sat on the cold floor and wept, surrounded by the beautiful, glowing ghosts of the life he could have had. Just remember, the words you save for later have an expiration date. Don't build a museum of regrets in your heart. Say the things that matter while the people who need to hear them are still listening. Later is a place where many beautiful things go to die. Thanks for watching.